The empire Max Verstappen is building outside Red Bull. 3 days ago, Portugal, rain hammering down on the Estoril circuit. Most Formula One drivers are on yachts, posting sunset photos, living the champagne lifestyle of world champions. But Max Verstappen? He's here in the freezing cold, behind the wheel of a car that isn't his. A Mercedes. Now, I know some of you saw the headlines. You saw the photos. Maybe you even scrolled past it. But here's what nobody's talking about. What this test really means for Max's future. If you want to be the first to know every major F1 move before it breaks, hit that subscribe button right now and help us reach 10K subscribers. Because this story, it's bigger than just a test session. This is the beginning of a plan that's been 2 years in the making. And when the 2026 Nürburgring 24 hours begins, everything you thought you knew about Max Verstappen's future will be proven wrong. The F1 season is over. For championships in the bag, Red Bull secured another year of dominance. But Max Verstappen isn't done racing. Last week, he showed up at Estoril with the Portuguese Motorsport team and spent hours lapping in their Mercedes-AMG GT3. The conditions were brutal. Cold, wet, miserable. The kind of weather that sends most drivers running for cover. Max stayed out, lap after lap, learning, pushing, preparing. Because this test wasn't random, it was calculated. Verstappen.com Racing, his own GT racing team, is reportedly making a massive switch for the 2025 GT World Challenge Europe season. They're ditching their current setup and going all in on Mercedes-AMG machinery. But why Mercedes? Why now? The answer starts with his teammate, Dries Vanthoor. According to sources close to the team, Vanthoor's been vocal about his preference. He wants the Mercedes GT3 over their previous Ferrari. The reason? The Mercedes is more manageable, more predictable, and crucially, it's better developed. In GT racing, where margins are razor thin and reliability wins championships, having a car you can trust lap after lap is everything. But that was just the start. Because what happened next reveals Max's real ambition. Don't miss what's coming next. Smash that subscribe button to stay ahead of the F1 curve and be part of our journey to 10K. This isn't just about his team. Max himself is deeply interested in Mercedes for his own racing prospects. Reports confirm he's already met with top AMG officials. Not casual meetings, strategy sessions. Planning discussions about one of motorsport's most legendary challenges. The Nürburgring 24 hours. Sources say that Mercedes-AMG team windward would be Verstappen's first choice to tackle the green hell in 2026. The test at Estoril? That was Max exploring the Mercedes GT3 front-engine platform and benchmarking himself against the car's regular drivers. McLaren swore Piastri and Norris were equals. Mercedes promised Russell equal treatment. But in racing, someone always becomes the chosen one. And Max Verstappen is building his own empire where he's not waiting for anyone's approval. The question isn't if he'll race at the Nürburgring. It's whether the entire motorsport calendar will bend to make it happen. Here's where the story shifts from interesting to inevitable. The 2026 Nürburgring 24 hours doesn't conflict with any Formula One weekend. Finally, after years of scheduling nightmares, the stars are aligning. But Max Verstappen doesn't just show up and wing it. He's a perfectionist. He wants proper preparation. And that means racing in NLS1, the crucial warm-up event that helps teams dial in their setups before the big 24-hour race. The problem? NLS1 currently conflicts with the Chinese Grand Prix. Most drivers would accept defeat. Schedule conflict. End of story. But the NLS organizers haven't ruled out modifying their race schedule to accommodate Verstappen's wishes. Think about that for a second. A racing series potentially moving an entire event just to ensure the four-time F1 world champion can compete. That's not hope. That's leverage. Because when Verstappen competed in NLS races earlier this year, the place went berserk. The crowds, the attention, the global media coverage, it was unprecedented for the series. The economic impact alone makes moving a date not just possible, but probable. If this level of F1 insider analysis is what you're here for, subscribe now and help us hit 10K. You won't regret it. This test in Portugal wasn't Max asking permission. It was Max showing Mercedes exactly what they're getting. A driver who lives and breathes racing. A driver who will bring millions of eyes to their GT3 program. a driver who turns every race he enters into an event. Let's talk about what this really means. First, the technical challenge. The Mercedes-AMG GT3 is a front-engine car, completely different from an F1 car's mid-engine layout. The weight distribution is different. The handling characteristics are fundamentally different. The way you attack corners changes entirely. For Max, this isn't just about driving fast. It's about mastering a completely different art form. And based on his performances in GT racing so far, he's taking to it like a natural. Second, the legacy play. Max Verstappen is 27 years old, already a four-time world champion, and he's thinking bigger than Formula One. Lewis Hamilton raced in MotoGP events. Fernando Alonso conquered Le Mans and the Indy 500. The greatest drivers don't stick to one discipline. They challenge themselves everywhere. Max is choosing that path. While others post Instagram stories from tropical beaches during the off-season, Verstappen is on track in freezing Portuguese rain, learning, improving, preparing. Third, and this is the fascinating part, Max Verstappen, the man who's dominated Formula One in a Red Bull Honda, is now getting intimate with Mercedes machinery. Not the F1 car, obviously, but he's building relationships with AMG officials, learning Mercedes' engineering philosophy, understanding their approach to racing. In a sport where nothing happens by accident, that's worth paying attention to. This wasn't just a test. It was a statement. Max doesn't need Red Bull to define his racing future. He's building his own legacy, his own team, his own path to greatness across multiple disciplines. Want more deep dive F1 content like this? Subscribe and join our community as we race toward 10K subscribers. So where does this road lead? Scenario 1. Verstappen.com Racing switches to Mercedes for 2025. They dominate the GT World Challenge Europe. Max spends the entire season preparing, building chemistry with AMG's GT3 program. Then 2026 arrives, and he walks into the Nürburgring 24 hours as the most prepared driver on the grid. Scenario 2. The NLS organizers move their schedule. Max gets his full preparation program. He races multiple NLS rounds before the big event. And when May 2026 comes, he's not just participating. He's hunting for victory in one of motorsport's most dangerous races. Scenario 3. This is just the beginning. Max conquers the Nürburgring, then Le Mans, then Daytona. He becomes the first driver of his generation to win across every major discipline of racing. And his name enters the conversation with legends like Mario Andretti. The test in Portugal suggests Max is choosing Scenario 3. Will the NLS organizers really move their calendar for one driver? Or is Max betting on something bigger, that his presence alone is valuable enough to reshape motorsport schedules? And here's the question nobody's asking yet. What happens if Max wins the Nürburgring 24 hours before Lewis Hamilton does? One thing's certain, when we're watching Max Verstappen battle for victory at the Green Hell in 2026, we'll look back at this December day in Portugal as the moment it all began. The moment a four-time world champion decided that conquering Formula One wasn't enough. If you made it this far, you already know this season's not about who's fastest on Sunday. It's about who's brave enough to build a legacy that lasts forever. So tell me, is Max Verstappen about to become the greatest all-around racer of his generation? Asterisk. Subscribe now, and let's find out together as we push toward 10K.